Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to share something personal with you. Something that I don't often talk about. I wasted 5 years learning English the wrong way. I started learning English when I was in school. I took classes. I memorized vocabulary lists. I studied grammar rules. I did all the things that teachers told me to do. And after 5 years, do you know what happened? I still couldn't speak English fluently. I understood some things. I could read basic texts. I could write simple sentences. But when I tried to speak, my mind went blank. When I listened to native speakers, I got lost. I felt frustrated, embarrassed, and honestly, I felt like giving up. I thought something was wrong with me. I thought I was just bad at languages. I thought I would never be fluent. But I was wrong. The problem wasn't me. The problem was the way I was learning. I was using the wrong methods. I was wasting my time on things that didn't work. Today, I'm going to share my journey with you. I'm going to tell you exactly what I did wrong, what I learned, and what I did differently to finally become fluent. If you're struggling with English, this video is for you. Let's get started. Part 1. My 5 years of wrong learning. Let me take you back to the beginning. Year 1. The grammar obsession. When I started learning English, I thought grammar was the most important thing. I spent hours studying verb tenses, prepositions, and sentence structures. I memorized grammar rules. I did grammar exercises every day. I thought that if I mastered grammar, I would be able to speak English perfectly. I was wrong. Grammar is important, but it should not be the focus. When you are speaking, you don't have time to think about grammar rules. You need to speak automatically. I was so focused on grammar that I couldn't speak naturally. I was always worried about making mistakes, and that fear stopped me from speaking. Year 2. The vocabulary trap. In my second year, I decided that vocabulary was the answer. I memorized hundreds of words. I used flashcards. I learned word lists. I forced myself to memorize 20 new words every day. But here is the problem. I learned words in isolation. I didn't learn them in context. So when I tried to use them, I didn't know how. I knew the meaning of the word, but I didn't know how to use it naturally. I learned thousands of words, but my speaking stayed the same. Year 3. The textbook addiction. Year 3 was all about textbooks. I bought every English textbook I could find. I did exercises. I read lessons. I completed one textbook after another. I thought that if I finished enough textbooks, I would magically become fluent. But textbooks don't teach you how to speak. They teach you about the language. They don't give you real practice. They don't teach you how native speakers actually talk. I knew a lot of academic English, but I couldn't have a casual conversation with a native speaker. Year 4. The passive learning trap. In year 4, I discovered podcasts and videos. I started listening to English every day. I watched movies. I listened to music. I thought that just by listening I would learn English. I was partially right. Listening is important. But I was only passively listening. I wasn't actively engaging with the language. I wasn't practicing speaking. I wasn't repeating what I heard. I was just consuming content. My listening improved a little, but my speaking stayed the same. Year 5. The spiral of frustration. By year 5, I was frustrated and demotivated. I had studied for 5 years. I had memorized hundreds of grammar rules. I had learned thousands of words. I had listened to countless hours of English. And still, I couldn't speak fluently. I felt like a failure. I thought about giving up. I told myself that I was just not good at languages. I was embarrassed to speak. I avoided situations where I would have to use English. What went wrong? Looking back, I made 5 major mistakes. I focused too much on grammar and not enough on speaking. I learned vocabulary in isolation, not in context. I relied too much on textbooks instead of real-life content. I only listened passively without practicing speaking. I was afraid of making mistakes, and it stopped me from speaking. I wasted 5 years learning the wrong way. But those years taught me valuable lessons. And those lessons helped me finally become fluent. Part 2. What I learned from my mistakes. Here are the most important lessons I learned from my 5 years of wrong learning. Lesson 1. Grammar doesn't make you fluent. Grammar is important. You need to know basic grammar. But grammar alone does not make you a fluent speaker. In fact, studying too much grammar can hurt you. It makes you think too much. It slows you down. When you speak, you don't have time to analyze grammar. You need to speak automatically. The solution. Instead of studying grammar rules, focus on patterns. Listen to how native speakers use the language. Notice the patterns. Practice using those patterns. Your brain will naturally learn the grammar without you having to memorize rules. Lesson 2. Vocabulary must be learned in context. Words don't exist in isolation. They exist in sentences. They exist in conversations. If you learn words alone, you will never learn how to use them naturally. The solution. Learn vocabulary in context. Read sentences. Listen to conversations. Notice how words are used. When you learn a new word, learn it with a sentence. Learn it with collocations, words that go together. For example, don't just learn decision. Learn make a decision. Don't just learn mistake. Learn make a mistake. Lesson 3. Textbooks are not enough. Textbooks are useful for beginners. They teach you the basics, but they don't teach you real English. Real English sounds very different from textbook English. Native speakers don't speak like textbooks. The solution. Use real-life content. Watch YouTube videos. Listen to podcasts. Read blogs and news articles. Watch movies and TV shows. Learn from native speakers. This is the only way to learn real English. Lesson 4. Speaking is a skill you must practice. Just like any other skill, you need to practice speaking. Passive listening is not enough. You need to actively use the language. The solution. Practice speaking every day, even if you're alone. Talk to yourself. Use shadowing. Record yourself. Speak to a friend. The more you speak, the better you will get. Lesson 5. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Fear of mistakes is the biggest obstacle for English learners. I was so afraid of making mistakes that I never spoke. But mistakes are a normal part of learning. Everyone makes mistakes. Even native speakers make mistakes. The solution. Accept that you will make mistakes. Learn from them. Don't let fear stop you. Speak anyway. The more you speak, the fewer mistakes you will make. Lesson 6. Consistency beats intensity. I used to study for hours once a week. That didn't work. It's much better to study for 20 minutes every day than to study for 3 hours once a week. The solution. Make English a daily habit. Listen every day. Read every day. Speak every day. Even if it's just 10 minutes. Consistency is the key to fluency. Lesson 7. Learning should be fun. I made learning English a chore. It felt like work. When you see learning as a chore, you lose motivation. The solution. Find content you enjoy. Watch videos about topics you love. Listen to podcasts that interest you. Read books and blogs about your hobbies. When learning is enjoyable, you will learn faster and stick with it longer. Lesson 8. Focus on communication, not perfection. I was always worried about being perfect. I wanted to sound like a native speaker. I wanted to speak without any mistakes. That is an unrealistic goal. The solution. Focus on communication. Can you get your message across? If yes, you are successful. The goal is not to sound native. The goal is to be understood. Focus on expressing yourself clearly. Lesson 9. You need to think in English. I used to think in my native language and translate into English. This is slow and unnatural. The solution. Train yourself to think in English. Start with simple sentences. Describe what you see. Talk to yourself in English. The more you think in English, the faster you will speak. Lesson 10. The right mindset is everything. I used to think I was bad at languages. I had a fixed mindset. I believed that fluency was only for some people. The solution: adopt a growth mindset. Believe that you can improve. Believe that your brain can learn new languages. With the right methods and consistent practice, anyone can become fluent. Part 3. How I finally became fluent. After 5 years of frustration, I decided to change my approach. Here is exactly what I did. Step 1. I stopped studying grammar. I stopped obsessing over grammar. I stopped doing grammar exercises. I stopped analyzing every sentence. Instead, I started listening to native speakers. I noticed how they use the language. I started to understand the patterns naturally. My speaking got faster because I stopped thinking about grammar rules. Step 2. I started learning vocabulary and context. I stopped memorizing word lists. Instead, I learned vocabulary from the content I was consuming. When I found a new word, I wrote it down with the full sentence. I learned it in context. I learned the collocations. I learned how it was actually used. Step 3. I switched to real-life content. I stopped using textbooks. I started watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts, and reading blogs. I chose content about topics I loved. I was learning English and enjoying myself at the same time. Step 4. I started speaking every day. I stopped waiting for someone to practice with. I started speaking to myself. I described what I saw. I repeated sentences from videos. I used shadowing. I recorded myself. I didn't worry about being perfect. I just focused on speaking. Step 5. I embraced my mistakes. I stopped being afraid of mistakes. I accepted that I would make them. I stopped caring about being perfect. When I made a mistake, I learned from it. I didn't let it stop me. Step 6. I made English part of my daily routine. I integrated English into my everyday life. I listened to English in the car. I watched English videos during meals. I read English articles in the evening. I practiced English every day, even if it was just 15 minutes. Step 7. I started thinking in English. I trained myself to think in English. I described my day in English. I narrated my actions. When I saw something, I thought the word in English. It was hard at first, but it became natural over time. Step 8. I found content I loved. I stopped forcing myself to learn boring content. I found English content that I genuinely enjoyed. I watched documentaries, listened to podcasts about my hobbies, and read books I was interested in. Learning was no longer a chore. It became fun. Step 9. I tracked my progress. I kept track of my improvements. I recorded myself at the start and listened back after a month. I noticed the progress. That motivated me to keep going. Step 10. I believed in myself. Finally, I changed my mindset. I stopped telling myself I was bad at English. I started believing that I could become fluent. I remembered that learning a language takes time, and every small step is progress. Part 4. What I wish I had done differently. If I could go back in time, here is what I would tell my younger self. Start speaking from day 1. Don't wait until you are ready. You will never feel ready. Just start. Focus on input first. Before you can speak, you need to listen and read. But don't stay passive forever. Don't be afraid of mistakes. They are not failures. They are learning opportunities. Use real content. Textbooks are boring. Real content is engaging. Learn in context. Words need sentences. Sentences need meaning. Be consistent. 20 minutes a day beats 3 hours on a weekend. Make it fun. If it's not fun, you won't stick with it. Believe in yourself. You can do it. Your brain is capable. Part 5. The ultimate English learning routine. If you want to learn English the right way, here is a simple daily routine you can follow. Activity time. Warm up. Listen to one podcast or video 5 minutes. Shadowing practice. Repeat after the speaker 5 minutes. Vocabulary. Learn 3 to 5 words in context 5 minutes. Speak. Talk to yourself or record yourself 5 minutes. Read. Read one short article or blog post 5 minutes. Review. Review yesterday's words and lessons 5 minutes. Total 30 minutes. Do this every day, and you will see massive improvements in 30 days. Part 6. Final words of encouragement. I want you to know that you are not alone. I have been where you are. I have felt the frustration. I have wanted to give up, but I didn't. And neither should you. Learning a language takes time. It takes patience. It takes consistency. But it is absolutely possible. If I could do it, so can you. Don't compare yourself to others. Your journey is unique. Some people learn faster. Some people learn slower. That is okay. What matters is that you keep going. Don't stop. Every day you practice, you are getting a little bit better. If you are struggling, take a step back and look at your methods. Are you doing what I did? Are you focusing too much on grammar? Are you not speaking enough? Are you using the wrong materials? You might need to change your approach. Remember, learning English is not about being perfect. It's about communicating. It's about expressing yourself. It's about connecting with others. Every time you speak, every time you listen, every time you read, you are taking a step forward. So, keep learning. Keep practicing. Keep believing in yourself.
Outro.
So, to quickly summarize what we learned today, I wasted 5 years learning English the wrong way. My mistakes were over-focusing on GR, AMR, learning vocabulary in isolation, relying on textbooks, passive listening, and fear of mistakes. The lessons I learned: grammar isn't everything, learning context, use real content, speak every day, embrace mistakes, be consistent, make it fun, focus on communication, think in English, and change your mindset. How I finally became fluent. I changed all of these habits. What I wish I had done differently: started speaking earlier, used real content, and believed in myself. A simple daily routine you can follow. Now it's your turn. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Learn from my journey. Start speaking today. Use real content. Be consistent. Believe in yourself. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel. And if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on future lessons. Also, I've put a link to our Telegram channel in the description below. We share daily tips, exercises, and reminders there. Join us to keep practicing and improving. Thank you so much for watching. Don't give up on your English journey. You can do it. I believe in you. And I'll see you in the next one.
Bye.